Okay, so we're really excited about this home biogas setup, and the reason why we're excited about it is because we're trying to work on being self-sufficient, and this is a great way of getting free gas from our waste. So we're going to look at the assembly and activation phase in this series, and there'll be a couple more after this on how to feed it and the fertilizer that comes off it as well. Good morning, I'm Les.
And I'm Megs.
And we're from HoneyBee Farmstead.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming along today. This is, we've just come off the back of a 30-day garden challenge, and it's been pretty tiring for us.
Yes, it has.
If you don't know us, this is your first time, let me just introduce you to the family. I've got my oldest son, Levi.
Hello.
And Ezra, and Bindy's over there, and Aria and Jade, and of course Rufus, who's a big part of our family as well. So today, after our garden challenge, what we've done is set our whole backyard up. We're on a 1/4 acre property in the city, and we're trying to be self-sufficient. We're trying to reduce our footprint and also get healthy along the way and start to eat healthy and live a healthy lifestyle without being a burden on the planet. After our Sorry?
Or reliant.
Or reliant as well. Yeah, we want to be self-sufficient and reliant. That's our main thing. After our garden challenge, we've basically set up our backyard into like a lot of garden beds, as you can see. We also have chooks, and I'll come around the corner here, and you can see we have bees over on the edge as well. Today we're here for a new part or a new addition to the family. On a Kickstarter we purchased a home biogas system, number 2. And today we've set up this area for the home biogas to go. And you see we've got our worm farm at the back and our chooks and the composting area to the left. And right here, the home biogas is going to sit. It has to have a 2 metre by 3 metre space, which is perfect for this area. So this is basically a gas system that goes in your backyard, and it is run off food waste and manure. What we're doing is we're actually using cow manure, and we got our cow manure from HoneyBee Farmstead, which went and collected it yesterday, and we try and get it within a couple of days so that it actually starts the process quite quickly. The goal is to have it out in the sun as much as possible, and it needs to be at a temperature that averages about 25 degrees. So here at the moment that's pretty close, but if we have an issue and we can't get the temperature up, we're actually going to put a greenhouse over it as well. This thing is so easy to put together, we're actually going to get our kids to do it. So hang around and see what we get up to. This system basically came with everything that we needed to set up our gas stove. As I said, we bought it on a Kickstarter, and we're really happy to get behind home biogas and see it take off. This home biogas system is all around the world. It's amazing, and just learning the whole science behind it's been a great thing as well. You can see here it comes with the stove. We've got the stove with ours. It comes with the hopper and the hoses and all the gas fittings, including the bags for the sandbags, and you'll find out what they're for later on. So first thing we do, we let out the area. We set out the area that we want to be in, which is 3.3 metres by 2 metres. Rake it up, kids. Do your little emu bob, or rake it up and get it nice and flat.
Yeah, emu bob after I rake it up.
Yeah. You need a nice hard base, and you also want the ground to be hard and want to be clear of any sharp sticks or anything like that. This biogas setup will weigh about 1,200 kilos when it's fully in use, so it'll be pretty heavy, so you can't just put it on pallets or anything like that. It's actually quite a heavy setup.
Alrighty guys, emu bob time.
This is the front. You can tell it's the front. It's got the Homebiogas label on it, so you can actually see it from the front. First thing we do is we actually get the sink part of it, which is this top, almost like a, or as it looks like a sink. And the best thing to do is to put the two long ropes, clip those underneath, because they actually go underneath the actual bladder. So that's the first thing we do. And then we just sit the sink to the side or just in front of it, just sitting nice and neatly. Make sure that the O-ring is facing the correct way. It's very easy to do. Jade's doing that. So that the actual shaft slides in out nice and easy. Once you've got that O-ring into place, put heaps of lubricant on it. After that, we insert the O-rings into the two pieces of the pipe that we have. One's like an elbow and the other one's a straight piece. Once they're fitted, make sure that you put heaps of lubricant, which is supplied with the biogas setup. Make sure you use heaps of it so it comes in really easy. Then I want you to insert the elbow into the actual bladder. You'll see that there's cardboard on the inside. Just leave that in there. That is actually to protect the bottom of the bladder when you're pushing hard into that elbow hard into the actual bladder, and we don't want to damage it. So that's why there's the cardboard there. Just leave it there, it's all good. And with the elbow, push the straight part into the elbow first. Then we're going to go to the other end and we're going to insert the fertilizer and the filter housing. Make sure that O-ring's in the right place and it's nice and clean with heaps of lubricant. And then just push it down into place. Sometimes it gets a bit tricky. That could be because you haven't got it quite square. We insert the sink into the top of the straight piece end. And we push that down as hard as we can and make sure it's nice and snug in there, as far down as it'll go. Once you've got those two fitted in there well, make sure that they are both tilting inwards. And that shows that it's sort of in the right direction. We've got two more parts to go. We've got a hose to go on. I was going to chuck the hose on now. Using the little kit that came with it, just using the hose clamps. All we've had to do is supply a screwdriver so far, which is actually pretty exciting.
That's all that we have to.
Making sure that that white line faces upwards. What we're going to do then is do a final check and make sure that the biogas is in the right place of where you want to have it, and we're going to start filling it up with water. And we fill up the water through the main hopper end. Because it's 1200 litres in the city, we don't have that much or that good of water pressure. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on and we're going to leave it to go, and then we're going to go to a building site and we're going to go and fill up all these sandbags. I'll show you what the plastic bags look like. It even comes with the 1 kilo bags, which is pretty awesome, and it even comes with a measuring container in case you can't find one at home. It literally comes with everything. Off to the building site, the kids can get into it there. And we're off to the building site. Meg's just got permission from building site in our local area to go and get some yellow sand. So we're very, very thankful for them. All right, we're just about full, which is good. And the way that you tell it's full is if you lift up the cap on the fertilizer end, where the smaller, it's probably like a 40 or 50 mil tube, that's where the fertilizer comes out. And if you have a look on the top, there's a little cap that comes off, and you can see the water here creeping up slowly over the top. And when it comes out, that's when you know that the bladder is full. And we're there. At this point, we leave it for 24 hours and we let it, and we check for leaks to make sure that there isn't leaks anywhere. It has been known to leak around some of the O-rings, so this is a good chance to make sure that you do actually let it sit for a while. Quite often if it leaks around the O-rings, it's two main things. You've got the O-ring upside down and you've sort of twisted it when you've pushed it in, or there's actually a lot of dirt in there. So either way, make sure that the O-ring looks okay and it hasn't got any big cuts in it. Make sure it's in the right way. And if that's all good, just make sure it's clean of dirt, put some more lubricant on it and reinsert it. At this point, we remove the cap for where the filter goes, and we take the filter and we take the stickers off both ends. Make sure you take the stickers off, otherwise it's not going to do anything. The good thing about this system is that there is no smell to it. There might be a little bit of smell when you put the food into it or something like that, but there isn't a big stink. You can actually have it pretty close to the house. And on that note, when you're considering putting this into place, you need to be up to no more than 10 meters away from the house, just so that there's enough pressure to get to the gas stove. So no more than 10 meters, and make sure that you're in a nice sunny place. Then what we're going to do, we're going to put all the bags in. We have all the sandbags in the top now. Levi's been busy trying to get them in. It's pretty tight now that it's the materials of such good quality, it's so thick, it's actually hard to get them in, so you might need help to get those in as well. We're now at the fun part where we get to put the manure in. This is called the activation phase. Alright, this is where the action starts to happen. Got a big chunk of poo there next to our friends, and so what we're going to do is mix it 50-50 and want to get rid of all that straw out of it. So that's our first little job. And for the activation phase, you need cow, chook, goat, horse, that sort of manure to activate it. And you can get that from a lot of places. You might look at it and say, where would I get that from? Well, we got ours from HoneyBee Farmstead out in the country, and they're friends of ours and we always go and visit them. But you can also go to some pet shops or go to a poultry farm. Make sure you're invited first. You want the poo to be less than 2 days old. You want it to be wet and a little bit runny would be good. And you can't have any straw in it either. That's the important thing. Make sure it's straw free. For the Biogas 2 setup we have, it needs to have 100 litres of poo activated, and you mix that with a 1-to-1. You might actually have access to 100 litres of poo in one hit. All this is going to do is draw out your activation phase, which is okay. We couldn't get enough poo in one hit, so what we did is we actually got a couple of buckets at a time every time we went out to visit our friend. And you mix it 1-to-1 into a slurry, and then you pour it into the actual sink. And I'll show you how to do that and flush it down with a hopper. This is called the activation phase. For the activation phase to work, it has to be an average of 25 degrees. Otherwise it's going to take longer, and it'll take 1 to 4 weeks depending on the condition of your poo and also the temperature around. So don't expect after a week to have gas. That's not going to work. Also need to add that at this stage we do not add food. I repeat, do not add food until we've got it producing gas. Okay, so I encourage you guys to come back again for the next phase. So what we've done today is we've just gone through the setup. So important thing to remember for the setup, make sure that the ground is hard and flat and free from any anything that can puncture a hole in the bladder. That's probably one of the most important things about this. You've just invested all this money on such a great biogas, and they are awesome. Probably the second thing is just to make sure your O-rings have been put in the right way. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can almost look at a picture and go, oh, that's how you build it. You almost don't need instructions, it's that easy. We're not going to hook up the hose now. We've got the black hose attached with the tap, and we're going to, in the next section, we're going to talk about, once it started producing gas, we're going to talk about how we're going to feed it. And remember, we don't feed it until it's starting to produce gas. So once you've got your 100 litres of manure in it, and you're averaging 25 degrees, between 1 and 4 weeks, you will actually get a result, which would be great. Also like to add that if you want to produce gas, make sure that the tap is in the off position. Another thing I just wanted to point out, make sure these hose clamps are facing in the right direction. You don't want them turning around where they can cut the bladder here and here. You want them to be free from the bladder. So for now, we're going to leave this to do its magic. I'm certainly excited about how it's going to turn out. If you've got any questions, let us ask some questions, ask away. For us, we're very excited about this. We're excited that we can have our own gas in our backyard. We're excited that we're actually reducing our waste and our footprint. We're excited that we're becoming more self-sufficient. And not only have we put that into practice with our veggie gardens and our fruit trees and our chooks and our bees, but now we're actually putting it to get free gas from our waste. Our next investment probably will actually be a toilet that hooks up to it, and it uses way less water than you do on your conventional toilet. For now, we're just going to concentrate on the assembly and the activation. Please come back and check out the feeding side of it. And as I said, if you're starting to set up and you're following us along, make sure you don't put any food in it yet. It's not ready. You don't put food in until it starts producing gas. And it's not going to produce gas unless you've turned that tap off at the end. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been awesome to have you here. We're so excited to show off this home biogas. It's so awesome to be in the city and to be able to be self-sufficient and have our own gas for making barbecues and all that sort of stuff. When we come back, we're going to show you how to set up the gas stove. We're going to show you how to set up the piping and set up the drainage, so that if you've got any moisture in your line, where to actually set your tap up to drain any moisture out, so you don't end up with any water in your pipe. Thanks for being here. If you like us, please like us, please subscribe to us, and share this around, and let's work together to reduce waste. I'm Les from Hunt and Gather Farms. Thank you for being with us. From our family to yours, God bless.